Hey friends, it's Rosalind. Welcome back to our gardens and our tiny farm. I'm so excited to invite you into the greenhouse today. We are going to be decorating it and getting it ready for spring planting. The greenhouse is something that we started building back in October. Harley, my husband, he made the garden or the greenhouse plans himself, and we bought the materials. We built everything with our own hands along with some power tools. Just last week, we added the antique doors into the doorway. Everything in the greenhouse, or everything that goes into the greenhouse, I want it to be antique or vintage or have a special meaning behind it. But I'm also a firm believer that you don't have to break the bank with gardening or with beautiful antique finds. I do a lot of shopping on Facebook Marketplace or thrift stores. So that is kind of how we are decorating the greenhouse. It's the way we decorate in our home and in the garden. One thing that I want to have a lot of out in the greenhouse is harvesting baskets. Because it's right by our cut flower garden and vegetable garden. So yesterday I stopped at the thrift store and found these adorable baskets. I mean, this one was so unique. Don't you think this would be so sweet to just quickly cut some flowers and add it into the basket? I think this one was my favorite find yesterday at the thrift store. I want to have this as a little organizer, and I'm going to throw a picture up on the screen of what I have in mind for it because I'm going to be painting it, but it was only $4. So I think with a little bit of chalk paint, it's going to be very sweet out in the greenhouse. These are some curtains that I found at an estate sale, and it was an elderly lady's estate sale, but I thought they would be very sweet. They're kind of like, okay, I'll just show this one. They're a double curtain. I want to have it in the doorway over the windows and the doors. I thought that would be very sweet. And this is something that Harley gave to me as a Christmas gift. So this will be going out in the greenhouse as well. But before we head out there, I did find some blue sea holly yesterday, and there's a couple roots in here. So we're going to get those planted and set them out into the greenhouse, show you what the roots look like. So this is what the roots look like, and you can see that each root has a little growth point at top. So we're just going to be planting them in here. I always save my plastic nursery containers, and I will reuse them over and over for projects like this. Let's get these planted and head out to the greenhouse. I just use an all-purpose potting soil when I'm planting something like this, but blue sea holly is something that the pollinators really like. So I want to plant them for our honeybees as well as all of the pollinators that will be visiting our gardens this season. It's said that there is only 2 roots in here, but I ended up finding 4 roots with growth points. So I do have the growth points right at soil level. See this one, and then this one. Okay, we have just a little over an hour to get things done out in the greenhouse. First and most important, we are going to create a little corner to have coffee in out in the greenhouse. And then we will see what else we get done as far as in decorating and getting the greenhouse ready for spring planting. We have our first load of things to take out into the greenhouse. But before we head on over to the greenhouse, so I had shared that we are going to be growing a lot of sweet peas, and I had also shared the varieties that we're planting this year. But I'm thinking I would like to have a tunnel right in the middle of the garden with sweet peas growing up both sides. Last year we did have a grow tunnel, and it was nice, but I didn't really like the things that we grew on it. So hopefully the sweet peas will look a little better. And I'm also going to take your suggestion. I had asked about putting an arbor either in front of the greenhouse or like in this entrance as you walk over to the greenhouse. And you said that maybe just get one arbor and try it out in a couple different spots, see where we like it best, and maybe eventually we'll want to have an arbor in both spots. So that is what we're going to do this spring. It feels so nice and warm in the greenhouse just because of the sun shining a little bit this morning, and it's like 30 degrees Fahrenheit right now. We still need to remove the protective wrap that is on the plexiglass and add in functional doorknobs. But this is a little before what it's looking like right now. And let's get everything moved in and see what it looks like after. All right, friends, are you ready to step inside the greenhouse? We got quite a bit done, and to think that we only had 1 hour's time. Before we step inside the greenhouse, there is still so much that needs to be done around the greenhouse itself, but the inside is slowly starting to take shape. Here is a little before of what it looked like before we started and what it's looking like now. It is far from being finished, but it's starting to take shape and it's actually looking like a greenhouse on the inside. This is a plant stand, and I do have a vase on top of it because that's where I want to arrange flowers in this summer or this spring and summer, and another tall planter with another vase on it. Eventually, I do want to have a china hutch right in here, like an antique or vintage china hutch that can be filled with the vases and like terracotta planters and maybe just some different things that we need out here in the greenhouse. The little potting stand, which has the basket and some vases on it, and the blue sea holly that we planted just this morning. If we turn back this way, this is our flower arranging table with just a couple of antiques that I had picked up at the thrift store. And the bird cage is actually a gift that Harley had given to me as a Christmas gift. Isn't it so sweet? Can you imagine it? Filled with small plants. And the hyacinths that we had started back in November are starting to poke through. So I did bring those out into the greenhouse. And the most important of all, our little coffee corner. The rug that I found at the thrift store, it was back in November, and a little writing table. And this is a bar stool that we had when I was growing up. And after I got married, my mom gave it to me to use it in our home. But now, isn't it just so sweet out here in the greenhouse? I do have one book that I wanted to share with you. This is one that I had picked up at the thrift store, but I checked on Amazon and Amazon still had some left of these. It's called Better Homes and Gardens, Garden Style. If you enjoy decorating with vintage items or antique items surrounding the garden, you would love this book. It is filled with some very beautiful pictures and inspiration. It has outdoor spaces. There is a section that is all about potting sheds. I mean, isn't this so pretty? Now, this book was published in 1999, but I feel like gardening books from the late 90s are some of the best because they are filled with antiques and vintage items, as well as just gorgeous pictures and inspiration of gardens. I'm excited to invite you into the gardens for another growing season. There is a lot that we need to get done landscaping wise around the greenhouse and in other areas of the garden. Well, friends, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come into your home and share the joys of gardening with all of you. Thank you for spending some time in the greenhouse with me today and just decorating it, slowly getting it ready for spring. Have an amazing week, and I will see you back here sometime real soon. Bye.